Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
It's been dark for maybe half an hour. It's hard to say, with all the screaming and running, but the streets are now dark and empty, except for us. We're all holding whatever we could find. I've got a rusty old tool I found, a meat cleaver, and a sack of food and water. All stuff I got as I ran out of the asylum. Oh yeah, I escaped from an asylum, but I'm not crazy. These two with me, though. Not sure about them. I better not mention it to him, though. One of these guys is a priest. I've seen him somewhere before, I think maybe on TV, but he doesn't know me. Thank God for that. The priest has a thick Bible tucked under one arm. The page is frayed as sin. He's also got a revolver and a blue lucky rabbit's foot. Not sure how that fits into his faith, but whatever works. The third, she says she's a sheriff, but she's dressed like anybody off the street. She's got a pipe wrench in one hand and a wine bottle in the other. It's a scary combo, if you ask me. We're squatting in an alley, listening to the silence of the dark city, when the priest points out a tall building we can just see the shadow of about a block away. Maybe it's a better place to hide, he says. We try it. We hike up the stairs with no incident. It's quiet. But once we get to the roof, we smell smoke. The building's on fire. Does anybody have rope? Asks the sheriff, or supposedly the sheriff. None of us do, so we have to try and find our way down the building. It's not that tall, maybe 2-3 stories. It's hard to tell from the top. But of course, as I'm trying to get down the fire escape, I trip and fall, totally break my arm. I don't even know what I'm going to do now. It just seems like his night's getting worse and worse. The sheriff, if that's what she is, she makes it down fine. The priest gets hurt too. Now I noticed the sheriff had a first aid kit, so I ask her, can you please help us out with that? She refuses. Yeah. Well, that's when she notices, across the street, and a woman calling out from another building, the top of a building there. It sounds like an old woman. She thinks we're zombies. Sounds like it. I mean, geez, that's what's going on tonight. It's funny, this woman yelling at us until, of course, we hear her shotgun cocking. We take off and run. She fires at us, misses. Another thank God for that. And we finally find a spot to rest when I reach down and scratch at my leg and my fingers come back bloody. Damn. I glance down and make sure nobody is watching, and I lift my pant leg up, and yeah, there's a bite mark from earlier tonight. Must have been those zombies that I fought in that grocery store. Well, I cover that up and make sure nobody's going to notice. At least I hope nobody noticed. That's when the priest points out, says that there's a library about a block away that he knows of. So we try that. He says it might be a good place to hide. I have no idea. We hike down there, and the place looks pretty trash. There's books spilled out in the street, wind catching loose pages and tearing them free. So we vote on whether or not to go in it. I say no. I don't trust the place. The priest, of course, says yes, and the sheriff, well, she votes no, so I guess we win. The sheriff calls out just into the dark down the street. We yelled at her to shut up, but she says, no, don't you see? And there, down the street, sure enough, there's another woman limping towards us. The sheriff says it's her roommate. I didn't know sheriffs had roommates, but we hike down there and meet up with her. She's totally happy, so incredibly happy to see this woman. They give a big hug. We have to vote on whether or not we keep this person around. I say no, yet again, but the priest, being kind-hearted, says yes, and now our group turns to 4. But then, of course, it's not long before that lost roommate starts getting nibbly.
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me neither, but this is a story or narrative of Dead Till Dawn, zombie survival horror card game that's currently on Kickstarter, and we're lucky enough to have on Steve Cave, who is a creator mastermind behind that game. That's correct? Is that how you fit into line with the whole game, Steve?
Yep, that sounds perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. We really appreciate it, Steve.
I'm happy to be here.
Cool. Awesome. So let's rewind a little bit, Steve. Let's go back, not all the way to the start of your life, unless you were born into board and card games, but how did you get into tabletop gaming?
Well, I've played games forever, like most of us do. The games are great. This game came about 10 years ago. I had a big pack of friends in Seattle, and we would play Werewolf a lot. And if you haven't played that, it's awesome. And but I always hate games like that where when people die, they're out of the game. They can't play anymore. And this game, about just based off of that, I wanted to make a game where when you die, you stick around. And who doesn't love zombies? They stick around. So that's how this came about. And I've been working on this for like a decade, having it play tested with my friends and family, and then giving copies to people at a couple of different colleges to try and play, and just getting interviews from them about what they thought about it. Yeah, that's how I got to this point.
Okay, there you go. So, but before that, how did you get into? Where did you just play card games, or did you play board games, or the whole shebang?
A whole shebang. I played role-playing games up through high school, and any board games we could find, mostly strategy games, a lot of strategy games. We played Shogun and, of course, Risk, but I couldn't stand Risk back then. I like the new ones, but not the old one.
So you didn't like Risk back then? I've never played the new ones. I know people keep talking about them. Legacy Risk. I really want to check it out because I'm really a fan of Risk. Me and my kids.
Nice, nice. The original one just seems like it took forever to finally beat, but there's some really good versions out now. Lord of the Rings Risk is kind of my favorite.
Oh, cool. And I've heard there's a what was it a Star? Someone was saying Star Wars or yeah, I think Star Wars Risk.
I think there's I'm probably now a Risk for everything, but yeah.
Just kind of like a Monopoly or Uno. Before I got into the whole tabletop, what it is now, me and my wife collected Uno cards. They have all these different kind of Unos.
Oh, nice, nice. I didn't know that, but yeah, Monopoly for sure.
Yeah. So you like strategy games from back then?
I do, and role-playing games.
You didn't like Risk. What were some of the strategy games you played then back then?
There's a game called Shogun. I'm not sure what it's called now. I think it got reprinted as Samurai Sword, but it's like a Risk-style game where you fight over medieval Japan. And we played that, oh my gosh, all the time. That was a really good game. It was like Risk, except that your armies kind of leveled up. It had a lot more depth to it. Yeah, we played that one nonstop. We also played BattleTech. This is a long time ago, but it's a strategy game with giant robots smashing and shooting each other up. I love that game. That game was amazing.
Well, there you go. And did you take I know, with role playing games and some of that stuff. I know I did at least. I took a hiatus and then came back to it. Did you do the same? I know a lot of people have.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we played Ninja Turtles a lot, and Robotech, and all the Palladium role playing games. I avoided Dungeons and Dragons because it didn't match with my faith. And then I was in college. That all kind of came back, and then it became Dungeons and Dragons nonstop once I got to be older. Like now, my friends, we still play maybe once every 3 months or so, but we have one campaign that we're still slogging through.
Oh boy! So what character are you, or what kind of character are you?
In that one, I'm running it. I'm the DM, but my favorite character I've ever had was a half-elf druid. It was fun. I like having the abilities that can kind of screw up what the DM is trying to do. You just have weird abilities, not just I can smash things, but I can make stone turn to flesh. That's a bizarre ability, and I love that kind of a puzzle powered aspect game. That was fun. But that's my favorite character, is that druid. I like him a lot. And he's still alive, I guess.
Oh wow, yeah.
No, he didn't die.
There you go. There you go. I didn't never kill them off. Cool. Yeah. What do you call? I played Middle Earth role playing game. It was like a red book with my friends when I was in high school. It's going on a little bit past 20 years now, and I didn't remember anything about it. But recently, I was talking to them, and they told me that I don't remember the exact character, but they said I was given the option to go back in time and bring something from our day. We'll go back in the future, I guess, and bring something from our day because it's in Middle Earth. And so what I had was a rubber chicken that was filled with nitroglycerin. I don't know how that worked out, but it sounds like me.
Yeah, I'm really curious what happened with that. I don't remember that in the movies.
Yeah, I don't think it was in the movie, but yeah, that's what I was or whatnot. But hey, yeah, with role playing and stuff, and even I think they tried Magic the Gathering. So I'd play with them, and then as soon as I was able to buy all the stuff, they'd stop playing.
Oh no! Oh no!
So at least I didn't lose a lot of money with Magic the Gathering and stuff and whatnot. So you got back in after the hiatus, and it sounds like you played a game called Werewolf. Is that the one? Is that like a headband game where you don't know what you are or you do, and other people don't?
It's one where you know what you are, but everybody else doesn't. It's a really quick to learn game. It's a lying game. Trying to get people not, especially if you're a werewolf in the group, then you try and get people to not believe you're one. But then the game goes in cycles of days and nights, and during the night, the werewolf team kills off people one by one. It's It's a very addictive game, and if you're social, it's kind of perfect. Except for the part that when people die, and somebody dies the very first round, they just have to sit silently and watch for like the next half hour while everybody plays. That part's terrible, but the game is, yeah. They've come out with a new version recently called One Night, where it's just one round, and it's actually kind of amazing. It's kind of brilliant. I played that. I just found that actually like 2 months ago, and it's like Werewolf but without that whole loser piece, which is really good.
Oh boy, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. And it sounds like that was a big inspiration behind Dead Till Dawn. And so the word on the street is you have a new game on Kickstarter. What can you tell us about it, Steve?
Yeah, so it's a zombie game. You and your friends play together. It plays out kind of like a group choose or an adventure book, as in there's these event cards that players draw on their turn and read, and there's a storyline piece at the top. Like when I was doing that piece here in the beginning, where I was acting like I was in it, I had pulled cards from the deck to say what was going on. Like there'll be the building that you could go try and hide in, but maybe it'll catch on fire, or there'll be the angry grandma with the shotgun, or the bitten card. All of those are cards. I just kind of read what was on the card, and then something happens to you, and then the bottom half of the card is how you resolve that in the game. And meanwhile, everybody has a character card. I was the lunatic, in case I didn't come through in my little story. And then I also drew a priest and a sheriff, so that really was a sheriff. And then I just drew random equipment cards and gave them to us, and I was describing what we had. And then as you go through the cards, certain pieces of equipment will be needed. If you fight zombies, you'll need weapons. You'll need tools for different things. Rope, clearly, I didn't draw a rope, and so we went on top of that building. That was bad. And that's what the card says. If you don't have a rope, then you get hurt trying to get down the building. There's a 50 chance you'll get hurt. And yeah, that's the game. And then it plays for 5 rounds, usually for 5 rounds. And at the end of that, anybody alive wins. But as players get killed, they don't stop playing. They play as zombies. And every character card has a bottom third that shows how you win as a zombie. So you can still win as a zombie. You get zombie cards. And like the last time I played, last Saturday, there were 5 of us playing, and like first one died, and then another player, one on my right died, and the player on my left died, and then I was doomed because they can attack the people sitting next to them, and then I died. And then it turned into like a mad rush, because then once it turned, I don't think it was really possible for the survivors to win at that point, so they were trying to join the zombie team, and so we were trying to on purpose kill them both at the same time, because then they would lose, and it worked out perfectly. And actually, there's a friend editing a video of that footage to show, to put up on my Kickstarter to show how the game works. He's editing it right now, I think, so hopefully that'll be ready later too.
Well, there you go, cool. And I really like the your Kickstarter video. That's how it kind of drew me in at first. I really like that, and it looks like there might be a gnome card, or
There is, yeah. One of the equipment cards is a yard gnome.
well, that's pretty cool.
It's a useful as a weapon once, and that's it.
Can it break?
There's a lot of those. Yeah, it breaks. There's a lot of things that break as soon as you use them. Which I like the wine bottle the sheriff had. That's another thing. It's a weapon, but it breaks as soon as you use it. But yeah, when we were making that video, we were planning it out, and we were flipping through the cards and trying to pick like what would be funny. And that's my buddy who was helping with the video. The other guy, the guy who dies in it right away, he was like, "Oh, you got to put a yard gnome in the video." So that's how that came about.
Well, there you go. That's pretty good. So just gonna pause for a second for a Kickstarter Corner. Be just a moment. Kickstarter Corner is a bit sparse today, but that's okay because then you can get back to your interview sooner. So we've got 2 games to talk to you about, or 2 things to talk to you about today. Dungeon Allies, a worker placement game where dungeon dice are the workers. And yeah, this looks really fun. $40 was his goal they set up so everybody can play. Check out the Kickstarter. It's by Joe Magic Games. And they have until the 30th of March. So get on this and you can get a great game for $40. And then we've also got Bitcoin Empire to the Moon 2.0. It's a card game about Bitcoin and a conspiracy that moon landings are fake. So yeah, check them out. They rebooted, if you will, and are way over their goal, and they have through the 17th of February. So get on this. Even the card box looks cool. It's not one of those old tuck boxes if I'm looking at it right. So yeah, check it out. And also make sure you check out Anklebiters. You heard that right. Anklebiters, Pixies vs. Gremlins. Pixies and Gremlins face off in this light strategy, whimsical card game. I was kind of saddened back in November that's when they initially had launched and they had to cut it. They didn't get their funding. So I was kind of sad. But then, you know what just recently happened? They relaunched just recently, and it is overfunded. That's correct, overfunded. And they still have 27 days to go. They go through the 8th of March, so make sure you check out this beauty of a game. It looks awesome. It is, yeah, it's a whimsical card game, strategy involved, and yeah, check it out. If you do nothing else, make sure you definitely watch their Kickstarter video. It is awesome possum. It reminds me of an 80s cartoon. They should actually make a cartoon of this, I think. That's just my opinion. The art is grand, and I really would love to be able to get this game into the home. Just looking at it in the box, all of it is so very pretty. So, yeah, check it out on the Kickstarter, and we'll make sure we leave a link in there for you. And then, yeah, that is what you get. It's awesome, and yeah, just go check out the video on the Kickstarter. It is awesome, like I said. We will catch you. Well, no, we're not going to catch you on the flip side. This is not the end of the interview. So, well, I guess we will catch you on the flip side because it'll be the flip side of the interview when we catch you again. Thank you. Okay, now we're back. Thank you so much for that. So great, Steve. So yeah, this I really like it. So if we were to sit down and play it, how would that look? I mean, this is a podcast after all. How would it sound? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, so you'd sit in, at a table with your friends or wherever, around a coffee table works too. Everybody first gets a character card, and most of them are secret. So you would get and most of them are like have abilities that help the group, but some are like the lunatic is bad. The lunatic needs to get the other players killed. So that's bad in order to win. And so you get your character cards, and then you get equipment cards, and those are common knowledge. Everybody knows what equipment you're carrying. And you get, it just starts. You start, first player draws an event card. If you have the expansion pack, then there's one more thing that happens. There's a setting card that you draw, and that tells you kind of how the evening began, what's going on, how the zombie apocalypse started. The expansion comes with 12 of those, but you don't need those to play the game, so they're just part of the expansion. So either way, once you start the game, first player, and the player who starts is whoever saw a zombie movie most recently. And honestly, it's not the best, so it's not like you don't have a big advantage going first. That player draws an event card, and if it says at the top, read out loud, they read it out loud. Some of them, like that bitten card I described in the narrative, says at the top in red, do not read out loud, because it's a secret. So that one, if I had drawn that, I would have just said, okay, well, next person's turn, and then everybody knows something happened, but they don't know what. And then if it's read out loud, you read them out loud. If it says there's a vote, sometimes players have to like team up and like vote thumbs up or thumbs down, what do they want to do? And then yeah, that's it. It goes around 5 times. Usually the way the game ends up looking is in the beginning, first round or two, everybody looks pretty healthy and happy. You have all this equipment, actually losing it. Like your stuff that breaks is breaking. Your guns are losing ammunition. It's just kind of slowly ticking down. And around the way I designed the game, and it works out this way, is usually around turn 3 is when it starts looking more like one of those dark zombie movies. People are running out of equipment. They start wanting help. They start having to get more selfish if they want to survive. And then that's when voting starts getting more dangerous. Like some of those bitten cards will call for, it's public. So some of them read out loud, and it says, everybody knows you're bitten. It's better than this, but it says, everybody knows you're bitten. They vote on whether or not to let you stay with the team. And, that can go really badly. Or there's a lot of things. There's a lot. And generally by round 5, there's only a few people left, but they get to loot the body of anybody who dies. So they'll have the best equipment by that point. They'll have a chainsaw and a shotgun and everything that's really good. So they're kind of tough to take down, but the other players are now zombies playing zombie cards to try and take them down. And oftentimes games come right down to the last turn, and a lot can happen. There are cards that zombies can play to come back to life, which can totally change the entire game. There's one card. It's an immune card. There's cards that there's equipment cards. There's like an antidote. There's just one. It's 120 cards, so you're probably not going to see it, but there's one in there that they could use to save a zombie. There's a lot of cards. I could babble at the cards forever. There's a lot. Of those 120 event cards, none of them are duplicates. And of the equipment cards, there are some duplicates, like free kits and stuff, but there's still a lot of variety. And so the game is different every time you play. Sometimes the survivors just march through it. They all have great equipment. They're all good guys. Maybe somebody takes a few wounds here and there, but maybe nobody dies. But usually not the case. And that's kind of what I love about the game, is that it's different every single time you play, with a combination of characters and with the events, because they play out, like I said, like each card is what I wanted, is each card to be a page in your story. this is what happens next. And the players make choices, or everybody has to make choices, or you have to fight. It's an exciting game. I wanted you to feel like you've lived through a zombie movie or died through a zombie movie. And I think it nails it. I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, there you go. So it's probably not too kid friendly, is it? I imagine.
Yeah, that's a tricky question. So I played this when I first started working on it 10 years ago. One of my goals was to be able to play it with my niece and nephew, and they're now teenagers, so they can play it just fine. But my nephew played a version of it when he was 10, and he did fine. The way the descriptions are on the cards, they're not gory and they're not gross, but they are. I mean, it is about zombies, so it's kind of a tough call. If you're the type of parent who is okay with having your kid watch a zombie movie, this is absolutely an okay game for you to play with your kids. If you're iffy about that, then you might want to flip through the cards and make sure that you agree with them all. But I made sure that there is no, there's no drug use, there's no cursing card, of course, and the violence is. I go for more creepy than disturbing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Something so they won't have nightmares or whatnot. It reminds me of going back, what it'd be about 12 or I don't remember exactly how many years, but yeah, probably 12 or so years or whatnot. When my wizard Leaf was old enough to walk, he was finally walking or whatnot, and so we decided to take him out trick or treating. He's our oldest kid right now. Yeah, well, he's our oldest kid. Period. We decided to take him out trick or treating. And me and him went trick or treat until he couldn't walk anymore. That probably wasn't a good idea. But then he was doing fine the whole time. And then I think at one of the very last houses there was like a fake hand that like moved, or he went in to get the candy and it like moved or whatnot. And he had nightmares for quite some time. That was the last time we went trick or treating, I think.
That's horrible. From a can, like that's what did it. Wow.
Yeah, what was a hand? I'm like.
Yeah. Well, this game, my nephew did not have nightmares, but then again, he's a little tank, so that might also just be him. I think this game is good for maybe 12 or 13 and up. That'd be my guess.
Well, there you go. Yeah, he could probably play now, but like I think he was. I don't know if he was 2 or 3. It was probably too young to go, but we wanted to get some candy, and so.
And he hasn't been trick or treating since then.
No, yeah, we kind of had to steer away with it, just also due to some health problems or whatnot, but can't really have the candy. But yeah, anyway, we'll sit in and watch Halloween. We'll try to sit in and watch Halloween movies. Yeah, do you have a favorite zombie movie?
Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I recently watched something. What was it? Yeah, it wasn't the movie or whatnot, but it's Ash versus Evil or Evil Dead or something.
Oh yeah, the TV show. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So, yeah, where they're going in and killing zombies or whatnot. So it's not as gruesome as that, I guess.
No. Well, my game? No, it's not as gruesome as that. No, Shaun of the Dead, if you're talking about that movie's really gross, but it's a comedy. It's a zombie comedy horror, which is kind of what, I mean, this game has a lot of humor in it. When you play it, you'll see there's a lot of humor because I can't keep it all serious. But yeah, nice. Yeah, I've been wondering about that show, that Ash versus the Evil Dead. That's good to know. It's good to get a good review on it. I've been wondering about it. I only watched it.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was hilarious. My brother recommended it, and I guess he really likes the Evil Dead or Evil that initially has him in it or whatnot.
Yeah, Evil Dead, and then he's also Evil. Yeah, he is. Army of Darkness. He's also in Army of Darkness.
I think there's Evil Dead 2, and then they had this TV show or whatnot. And yeah, I recommend it. I think it might have some language and stuff. Yeah, it's got quite a bit of language from what I remember in it or whatnot. But but yeah, it was pretty good. So per se, somebody's fallen asleep, Steve. It wouldn't be because of you or your what do you call it? Your awesome game. It'd probably be because of me and my constant podcasting or whatnot. I know in January alone we released 17 episodes, so they're probably bored of me. But they're suddenly jolted awake, so they don't hit that oncoming traffic or whatnot, or so they don't get eaten by that zombie that's coming at them. So now you have their full attention. Why should they take a chance on Dead Till Dawn, zombie survival horror card game, especially with all the other great games on Kickstarter currently?
Yeah, that's a great question. My game is unique in a couple of ways that I'm really proud of. One is the replay value. As far as a game that's going to have a narrative storyline but have replay value, I've never played a game like this. I mean, like I said, this has been played for a decade, and my friends still enjoy it. They're not sick of it yet, which is crazy. That is crazy, but it's true, and I'm really happy about it. So there's the replay value as far as, I'm really impressed with that. I like that. I'm really excited about that. There's the fact that nobody's ever the game for reals. It's not, if you die, you just switch teams and you can switch back and forth. That's really fun. So it's a game you get really involved with. There's the role playing aspect of your character, but then you're never booted out of the game. You never truly die. I love that aspect of it too. And then the last thing I would say is that it's unique. I haven't played any game like this before, where it's a party group game full of discussion and voting, and there's conversations that you have with your friends about, like, well, should we let this, like, some of the, like, there's an event card that is, you find a crying baby. Like, you can see what do you do? And there's no real good answer. If you save the baby, you have a crying baby for the rest of the game. If you don't, nobody will help you. Like, if you don't save the baby, everybody else in the group will hate you. Like, in the game, they won't trade you equipment cards anymore. They won't help you out in fights. So it's like choices like that are fun, right? And this game provides tons of those. So then afterwards you get to talk to your friends and say, "Oh man, remember when that happened? Remember when Mike did not save that baby? Ha ha ha!" And then died the next turn. Ha ha ha! That's that kind of stuff. I don't know. I haven't ever played a game that is this different. It's this unique, and I think people will love it. It's been play tested by, I don't even know, 35 to 40 people, I think, are listed in the instructions. And that's not all of them. That's just everybody whose names I got. And it's ready to go. It's a good game. It's a lot of fun. I know people will enjoy it, and you'll have a good time. It's also good with men and women. Like, my playtesting groups are really mixed. That's also kind of unique. I think it's a really good game.
Well, there you go. You talk about a lot of choice, though. I suffer from AP, or analysis paralysis. Are my friends going to hate me if I play this game?
No, you can always abstain from voting. That's in the rules. It's very clear. You don't have to vote at any time. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
Well, there you go. I can just write present, like sometimes some of the congressmen do. Just say that I was present or something.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And people do that, like, to be political in the game all the time, because you vote with a thumbs up or a thumbs down all at the same time. And I've seen plenty of people just not put a hand out because they don't want to be the bad guy and they can see how things are going. But they didn't vote against it, so then you can still get revenge on them later and feel good about it.
Well, there you go. There you go. Cool. Yeah. So, and we'll make sure we leave all the show notes and whatnot in there so people can just click on it and they won't have to go ahead and type that in. So that, because now that they're awake or whatnot, we don't want them running off the road because they're busy typing it into their phone. But this way they'll be able to click it and they can go and back it. Is there any reviewers, notable reviewers, or anybody that they don't have to take your word for it, but they can go check it out on their YouTube channels or anything like that, or any other podcast you might be on?
No, this is the only one. I've got reviews on my Kickstarter page from people who have played it, but as far as podcasters and stuff, you're the first person to reach out to me. So
okay, well, there you go. I guess I can typically say, I always like to say this, but you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Cool beans. So we'll make sure to leave that all on there, and yeah, check out the page, especially I like the video that you did at first with like I said, with the garden gnome and just acting out the game or whatnot. But it's not that intense. You said you're sitting around the table, or I guess you could go in the woods with this game, couldn't you?
You could, but yeah, you're sitting around a table. It's mostly cards. There's like these tokens that you have for ammo and for wounds, but the rest of it are these cards. And the cards are big. They're bigger than regular size cards because there's text on them. I want that to be easy to read. But yeah, you just sit around with your friends and play.
Oh, cool. Now, that sounds awesome. So like I said, I'll leave all the links in the show notes and whatnot. And I don't know if you've listened to any of the podcasts, but the next section of our podcast the next portion is Adventures in Application Acquisition, where we talk about an app, be it for your smartphone or your tablet or even a computer or a video game. Is there an app you use a lot of that we can talk about for a moment?
Yeah. It's not the one I talked about earlier. I was looking through my apps. Has anybody reviewed Pictionary on here?
No, I don't think so.
It's fun. Okay, so Pictionary is the only actual game that I have on my phone. It plays where you get a clue and you draw it out with your finger on your phone. And the better you get at the game, the more you play it, unlocks more colors and different types of pins. The thing I love about this game is that you can play against random people, which is great, or you can play against your friends. And I play with my best friend on this all the time, and our drawings, our thing is that we just make them as weird and violent as possible, but with still clue. And you can watch when you play the game, when you watch somebody's drawing, you see how they drew it. Like the lines all show up in the order in which they drew. And like, for example, one of my buddies was 3 blind mice. That was his clue. So he drew he drew these three little cute blind mice, but then like one of them had a knife and there was a dead body on the ground. And I was like, what is that? And he's like, well, that one was a murderer. But which is not part of the game at all, but it's really fun. And I like that. I like playing a game where you can be creative with your friends and just be goofy and fun. But then there's rewards. The more you play, you unlock, like I said, more markers. You can unlock different categories. You can, because you pick, do you want to do a person, place, thing? You unlock movies. You can unlock all kinds of things. It's a really addictive game. I like it a lot.
Oh wow, that's got to be horrible because I remember playing Pictionary before when I was a kid or whatnot, and you got to have really mad art skills or whatnot for people to guess. And then like when I go and like I can do it okay on paper or whatnot, but I go to like the grocery store or even like the restaurants or whatnot, and I go to sign my name, especially at the bank, and it comes out horrible. So do the pictures come out a lot horrible? Or?
They can, and that's part of what I personally love about it. I love watching my friends stumble over their drawings, or like at the end say, "What on earth was that supposed to be?" And then that's for me, that's part of the fun. Like, and them giving me the same hard time when I draw something, and then, like I'm saying it's a hot dog, and they're like, "No, that is not. I don't know what you drew." That's for me, that's part of the fun because you have to draw with your finger on your phone. Like, who's gonna be good at that? Who's gonna be a good artist? I don't know.
Well, there you go. So, is that a paid or a free app?
It's a free app. That's the thing I mentioned about it. It's totally free, which is something I also love about it. You can pay money to quickly unlock like different pens and colors and whatnot. But I mean, why do that? You can just play the game and you unlock all those anyway. And otherwise, it's just free. And it's Pictionary, like the actual game. Like it's the people who made the old game that I played when I was a kid. They made the app. I think it's pretty great.
Well, there you go. And is that available? I imagine that's available on both iOS and Android, I'd imagine.
It is. It is. I'm on Android. My best friend I was talking about has an iPhone. So absolutely.
Oh, cool. Now, if you own the rights to that application, Steve, what would be one thing you would do to fix or make it better?
That's a good question. What would I do? I think I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. It's a pretty great game. Maybe if there was some type of a group play option, but I'm not sure how that would work. But if you could play with more than just one person at the same time, that would be good. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, what if you could play this game with like two friends at once and just whoever guesses it first wins? Something like that. That'd be kind of fun.
Okay, yeah, that'd be awesome. So you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, what Steve would do to make it a better application. So I guess currently is it a pass and play, or you play online with one friend, I guess?
Yeah, you have several games going with different people, and then you do your drawing, send it to them, and then they'll get a notification, bing, you have your turn, and then they do theirs, send it back, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Do you have a certain time limit or whatnot?
No, not that I've seen, but I also haven't just sat and let it go for a long time. But I don't think you do. I think you can take as much time as you want. So like me and my buddy would play oftentimes while we're both at work, just when you had a break or something. So it'd be like, it could be 20 minutes or an hour before you'd get your drawing back or whatever, but that's fine. It's a nice little break. I like it. We've also just played sitting in the living room while watching a movie at the same time and just sent them back and forth. So you can do both.
Okay, good thing you threw that break thing in. We'd hate to have your employers listening and you get in trouble for what you do during work time.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So minus coming there to your hometown to stalk you, Steve, how would people go about finding out about you or upcoming games or Dead Till Dawn especially?
Yeah, so I have a game company that I started to launch this game on Kickstarter. It's called Cave Wolf Games. So you can go to www.cavewolfgames.com. That's cave, like a mountain with a hole in it, and a wolf, and then games.com. So you can go there, and that has all the information about the Kickstarter and links to all that and a way to email me. You can also just email me if you want at steve@wolfgames.com. That also works.
Okay, and we'll make sure we leave all that in the show notes or whatnot. But yeah, we don't want to keep you all night, Steve, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief with us.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem, and yeah, thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that special Halloween episode we had, and stay tuned for next week, as hopefully it will be us going forward with a lot more and stuff like that, story-based. Well, I guess first off, the story-based of the, what do you call it, Too Many Bones. It's my last game of doing the story or whatnot, but then you get the pleasure of having Lady Leaf. So, yeah, so get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others into Geekfold. And this has been Game Relief, and we will catch you all on the flip side. Don't forget to give us a review or a rating. I just discovered that you don't have to do both. You can click rating and just give a rating, just click the 5 stars. That's all you got to do. But if you feel so inclined, we would love a review from you. But yeah, ratings are fine too. They both help us as far as I know. Now we'll catch you on the flip side. Game Relief out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.